Hi guys, and welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. So, I had a really good August, and now I'm gonna do my September TBR, and I'm hoping, man, I am hoping that I have as good a books on my September TBR as I had on my August TBR. So, I could delay if I needed to, but without any more waiting, here we go on the books for my September TBR. Remember, I like to do at least 2 sequels. I like to start a couple series as well. And then I have my wife choose one. And then I have the DnD Minis of Fate allow me to choose another one depending on what letter those little monsters give me. So first on my September TBR we have, boom, The Hod King, Book 3 of the Books of Babel by Josiah Bancroft. So guys, this is no surprise. You can see I've already begun it. I'm actually buddy reading this with Sam from the Shelf Space Book Club. He had also read up to the 2nd book and had not read the 3rd one yet, so we have gone ahead and started it, and I am so excited. Everything I hear about The Hod King, everyone says that this is their favorite book of the Senlin books so far. I'm gonna be disappointed because as soon as it's over, I've got to wait till April for book 4, the last book in the Books of Babel series, but I am super excited to read this, probably more than any other book on here, because I love Thomas Senlin so much. If you haven't read the Senlin books, oh my gosh, go read them. Go read them. Boosh! Next on my TBR is probably, if you've been following me for enough time, you know that I love the Long Price Quartet. I've read the first 2 books. This is the omnibus edition that has all 4 books. I'm hoping to read book 3, An Autumn War, in this and see where Ota and Mati and the frickin' Andot and everybody is going to end up at the end of everything. These things are filled with political intrigue. The first one was about the cotton trade. The second about the mining trade. It's not really what they're about, but I really love economic intrigue as well. This one I think takes place another like 10-15 years after the second one, when the second one took place 14 years after the first one. I love these books. They are heavy and grief and sorrow filled, but we learn a lot about the human condition and the price of the things that people crave, like love and justice, and what do these things cost. If you haven't read this by Daniel Abraham, pick this up as well, guys. It's so good. My next book on my September TBR is going to be the book of the month that Shelf Space has chosen to read, and that is Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. And the co-host for the live show this month in September is going to be my friend Jessie over at A Bookish Mom. She's awesome. I love her channel. I'm going to link that business below. You better check it out. She has great videos. Again, also Shelf Space, if you're not a member of that, go join that as well. We just finished the live show for City We Became, which was our August pick, and this is the pick for September. And I'm glad it is, because I am not the biggest fan of dragons. I had my dragon fill in my youth with D&D books, and I played D&D, and there were dragons everywhere, and the books all had dragons in them, and then dragons just became kind of old hat, and I got tired of reading about them. But I have heard plenty of things about this book. It is a revenge story. It is military fantasy, which I do like. There's a huge, there's a war, and there's a bunch of, like, I guess training montages, I guess, like Mulan, like, let's get down to business to beat the dragons, or whatever it's going to be about.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
But that sounds awesome. I'm hoping the dragons are awesome in here as well. I have heard mixed things. Some people really like it. Some people say the main character is super annoying. So I am super eager to see which side of the camp that I fall on. And I'm definitely excited to be at the live show, probably at the end of September sometime. So make sure you make that and come read this with us if you haven't read it. Rage of Dragons. My next book on my September TBR is going to be Boosh, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I have heard plenty of buzz about this book, and I have not yet had the pleasure of reading it. This, too, is a buddy read. A couple of us on the Discord for Shelf Space were talking about not having read it, and then there were a bunch of people who hadn't read it, and a couple people who wanted to reread it, so we decided this was going to be our unofficial buddy read for the month in Shelf Space. So every month we have we've got a book that's the book pick, and that's the live show, but then there's an unofficial one as well. And this is going to be the unofficial one where a bunch of us are just going to be reading this kind of at the same time or rereading it and discussing what it's about. I am really eager to read this because I have been told multiple times that this is based on historical events, specifically the siege/rape of Nanking or Nanjing, depending on how you want to call the city. My degree is in international politics, more specifically East Asian politics. So I studied Japanese and Chinese and Korean history, and I actually studied the siege of Nanking in college, and I read a book. There's a really, really graphic but good book called The Rape of Nanking by, I don't know the author. It's up there on that shelf right there, but I will flash the cover up. And it is an incredible book, but also extremely, extremely graphic. These are some of the atrocities that were committed right before World War II with the Japanese invasion of Manchuria and incursion into China. This is part of the reason that Japan entered the Second World War on the side of the Axis. One, they didn't have no oil, and America just said, hey guys, you need to back out of China. Stop trying to take over China, and also give back the stuff you've taken in China. And the Japanese said, no, like, deal with it, America. And America said, cool, you can't produce your own oil, we're cutting you off. And what choice did Japan have? Japan could either be suffocated by America's oil embargo, or they could, go for broke and attack America. And that's what they did. And of course, that's oversimplifying, but I mean, that's by and large what happened there. The Japanese, man, during World War II, during the imperial period, they were brutal. They were not playing around. And the stuff that happens in the Battle of Nanjing is just horrific, guys. It's horrific. Ugh, man, what a brutal time in the world's history, guys, was World War II. So anyway, I am eager to see that put into, fiction. It's going to be wild because that's some horrible stuff, and I've heard it's soul-crushing, so we'll see. Anyway, Poppy War. All right, book 5 of 8, which is, still super optimistic considering I only got through 6 of 8 on my August TBR, and these books are longer, so I'm not gonna get through all 8, but I like to make a TBR of 8, and then anything that doesn't will get rolled over, and I'll plug in holes with those as I am able. So book 5 is gonna be, boom, Peace and Turmoil by Elliot Brooks. I am actually buddy reading this with Jessie, who runs Shelf Space, and whose channel is Jessie May. If you don't already know who she is, you should definitely subscribe. That's insane. I don't know who would be subscribed to me, but not her already. So go subscribe to Jessie if you haven't. We had talked about buddy reading this, and it's long, so that's good. It's always nice to buddy read really long books. And I think Jessie from A Bookish Mom is also going to be reading this with us, so that's going to be super exciting. I heard this is political intrigue, and I love political books. I just do. I don't know if I like political or military fantasy better. I don't really know. But I love things from soldier level on the ground dealing with war and armies. But I also like, from the commander space up at top, the people who are having all the machinations that are screwing people over, and I love plotting, like people plotting against other people, and this has political intrigue, and I love political intrigue. In addition, I want to support Elliot Brooks and her writing. I hear that the next one is going to come out next year sometime, maybe not, maybe the following year, but anyway, I'll be ready for it. So I'm excited to read this. I'm excited to read this with 2 of my buddies and support Elliot and her channel and her writing endeavors. So I am definitely eager to see what this one is about. Number 6 on my TBR, I do not have a copy of yet. It is on the way, but it has not arrived for me yet. And that is book 3 of the Greatcoats, Saint's Blood. I think I'm more excited to finish Hodking, but it is a close run race on am I more excited to read Hodking or Saint's Blood, book 3 of the Greatcoats. Senlin and Falkio are vying for my favorite protagonist of all time. And I don't know what it is. The Senlin books are very, very different from the Greatcoat books, but I love them both equally. They are both amazing. I Oh my gosh, I have a review of both the Senlin books. I have a review of Trader's Blade, the first one of the Great Coats. Book 2, Night Shadow review is coming later this week. I love them so much. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I just like middle-aged protagonists because Falkio is in his 30s, if not his 40s, and Senlin's in his 30s. So maybe I just connect with those guys better. But I love where the second one ended off. I am so excited to start the third one. Unfortunately, I may not be able to reach it this month, in which case I will definitely be reading in October, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to get through Saint's Blood as well. If you have not read any of the Great Coats books, you should be. Mike over at Mike's Book Reviews is running a read-along every month. They did Trader's Blade last month. They're going to do Night Shadow this month, and then next month Saint's Blood, and then in November Tyrant's Throne. Go read them. Go read them. I don't care if you read them with Mike. I don't care if you read them by yourself and then talk to me about them. Just read them and talk to me about them. They're so good. They're so good. While you're at it, go read Senlin. Just devour them, come back, talk to me then. As you know, I always have my wife choose one, and my wife's pick for this month is The Guns Above by Robin Bennis. So, steampunk. It just looks like it's going to be a fun steampunk romp, steampunk adventure. It's about the first female airship captain in this world, and it just looks like an awesome adventure swashbuckling romp, which are the kinds of books that I really, really like. And I also really, really love steampunk, so I'm hoping that this scratches my steampunk itch, though the Books of Babel are doing that as well. And you know what? This would be way down my TBR just because I got so many other things to read, so I'm glad my wife picked this to force me to actually read it. So I'm really excited to read this, and it's also really short, so bless you, Robin Bennis, for writing a book that's only 300-something pages. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, my final book on my September TBR is going to be chosen by the D&D Minis of Fate. So, boosh!
Once again, the D&D Minis of Fate. The playing field is set. We got Frost Giant, Hill Giant, Nightmare, the Beholder, which I want to knock over, but I always miss, Aboleth, Kenku, I think, Hook Horror, Black Dragon.
Okay, so remember the rules of the game are I get one roll to knock over as many of these things as possible because I must choose a book for my TBR that is the same letter as one of the letters that these guys is sitting on. So the more letters I get, the bigger my choice. Now last time I beefed this when I threw it the first time, so let's see if I can get more than two. Sad 2. Remember, A, N, and the do not count. So H is the Hobbit, not T. So, because that's dumb, because otherwise I just want T. Here we go. Alright, see if the kitten goes after it. Boosh! I got 2! No!
Which 2?
These stupid 2, I got, I don't know, Goliath Sword Lady and Vash the Stampede. I got B and A. So the minis have chosen the letter B, because I don't have any books that start with A. And I had a couple books that start with B, but I think it is finally my time to enter the world of The First Law and Joe Abercrombie. The Blade itself. I don't count T as the, so it starts with B, The Blade itself. Book 1 of the First Law trilogy. So everyone likes this book. I've heard everyone talking about how much they like it, and everyone rants and raves about Glotka. Is that right? Glokta, not Glotka. That's Glokta. I gotta see what the fuss is about, guys. I have to see if this book is as good as everyone says it is. Everyone talks up the First Law as if it is, I don't know, as if it is the crowning jewel on the top of grimdark fantasy. So, I'm super excited to read this, see what all the fuss is about, but yet again, it's another series I'll be starting. And then I'll have to find room for book 2 and then book 3, so I don't know. Maybe I'm secretly hoping that I don't like it, so I don't have to keep reading it. But I'm definitely, I am excited. I am excited to read this one. I don't know what this book's actually about. So apparently this is about a barbarian, a torturer, a nobleman, and a wizard, and beyond that, I don't know. I've just heard it's good. I don't really need to know much more about it since most people I know rave about this, so I'm going to read it and I will report back to you on if it gets the ka-chunk. Alan's stamp of approval, and if this is something else that I can rant and rave about in a video on how much I love it. Super excited. So guys, that does it for my September TBR. But before I go, I did want to thank each and every one of you for watching my videos and subscribing. I had no idea that coming into September I would be over 500 subscribers, and that just, I don't know, that means a lot to me. I don't really know how to express gratitude without just sounding weird or it sounding false, and I don't want it to ring false. You know what I mean? I am super happy to have found a community of people who love books and want to talk about books, even though we don't always agree on everything. We don't agree on, you know, we don't always have to like the same books or have the same opinions. I know that Abby gave Senlin 3.5 stars and I died a little inside, but you know what? That's okay. I love Abby. And, you know, so I really like this community where we can all talk about the things that we enjoy and we can talk about the books that we like and we can just kind of share this hobby that, as far as I know, most of us don't really have in our real lives. We don't have a ton of like real life friends who all want to read the same stuff that we do. So I am super, super grateful. And I know 500 subscribers, yeah, you know what, so what? Like, I know that's not a lot. I understand that, but it's super meaningful to me. I did not think that I was going to be here at this point. And so I just want to acknowledge some other booktubers who have just been super helpful and super kind. This is one of the nicer communities that I've run into online, because as you know, online is a hellish wasteland where there's no law and order and everybody's secretly a stagecoach bandit. But BookTube, I have not found that to be the case. From KD Books, who is the Booker boy, and I've learned everything there is to know about the Booker Prize from KD Books. His videos are hilarious. I think he may have been my very first subscriber outside of my friends and family. To the ladies over at the Top Shelf Society, who all subscribed to me back when I had 12 subscribers. They have been awesome. I love all of their videos. They're some of the kindest people that I've met. I try to go to their live shows every month to see what they're reading. I missed the last one because I was working and I forgot to set an alarm, and I'm so upset, but I'm definitely, ladies, gonna be at the September live show. Sorcerer's Apprentice was an early friend of mine. If you haven't subbed to her, you need to. I don't know your real name. I don't know why, but I need to figure that out. Anyway, she's awesome. And of course, Shelf Space and the really, really good friends that I've met in Shelf Space, run by Jessie May. Of course, she's amazing. And my buddies Abby, Sam, other Jessie from Bookish Mom, Tara, AK, Alex at Life by the Book, Alex at Alex Nieves, V, of course, at Books with V, and I am on the spot, so if I forgot any of them, I will make sure I put that in with editing Alan. There's so many more people there. If you haven't joined Shelf Space, it's such a fun community. Everybody talks all the time, and it's super, super entertaining. And I also wanted to just kind of pay it forward and do something nice. So I'm gonna do a giveaway, because I've seen people do these and that sounds like fun. So I'm gonna do a giveaway. So if you've made it this far and you want to enter the giveaway, what I'm gonna do is the winner, I'm gonna buy you something off of your Amazon wish list. If you really hate Amazon and you're against that, then I'll buy you something from like a used book, not Book Depository, they're owned by Amazon, but like Abe Books or something, Abe Books, whatever. I'll get you something from somewhere else. So if you hate Amazon, don't worry, you can still enter. So if you've made it this far and you want to enter my giveaway where I'm gonna get you something off your Amazon wish list, leave a bread emoji, because bread is the official emoji of Shelf Space. So you just, anywhere in your comment, drop me a bread emoji. It doesn't have to be the loaf. It can be the baguette or the croissant, whatever you want. And then I'll keep this open for a week, and next Tuesday, I'll plug all the names in a wheel, I'll spin the wheel, and whoever wins, I'll contact you, and you can send me your Amazon wish list, and I'll send you something. So that's the best way I know how to kind of just thank the community, and thank you guys for watching. It's so awesome. It means a lot. I really, really appreciate it, guys. And you know, maybe if I ever crack 1K, I'll do one of those things like, hey, ask me random questions, because, well, maybe not, because I'm super not as interesting as you may think, if you thought I was interesting at all. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Boosh. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.
What do you think of your dad's games, Virgin? doing, bud?